Good morning, Ultimate Hustlers. It is that time. Y'all know what time it is, man. It's time for the Cortez Hustle Show. And today I got a very special guest coming on to talk about how to turn pain into purpose. So Angela D. Stribling is going to be on, and she's an amazing woman. And after some turbulence in her life, she's figured out how to navigate it, but also turn it into purpose and helps other people do the exact same thing. So you do not want to miss this episode. In fact, go ahead and do me a favor, comment in the chat where you from, drop the name of your business and or your brand, and smash that share button, ladies and gentlemen, because y'all know it's time for us to kick it. Yo, what's up, Ultimate Hustlers, and welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show, the business podcast for the entrepreneur of the 21st century. And I'm your host, Cortez Hustle. Our goal is to give you a behind-the-scenes look at how the world's greatest hustlers build amazing brands, scale their businesses to incredible heights, sell more, make more, and create mass movements that impact the world. It doesn't matter if you're a seasoned vet or you're sitting on the sidelines with aspirations to one day unleash your inner hustle. This show will provide the insights into how pure grit, determination, and hard work has morphed into some of the most iconic brands and personalities and how they are moving the culture forward. You'll get a mix of solo shows featuring yours truly, as well as interviews and content from other hustlers that I either know personally or I've learned from or whose grind I've come to know and respect. And you'll also get exclusive recordings from our membership called Monetize My Life Academy, which you can check out at monetizemylifeacademy.com. That's a program where we go live every month with some of the best hustlers on the planet, sharing best practices on how we all can explode our brands with advanced branding and marketing tactics, business development strategies, and financial game planning necessary to build the empires we all desire. Again, that's at monetizemylifeacademy.com. If you like today's episode, chances are the hustlers you're connected to will like it as well. Share it with those in your network. And when you do, use hashtag Cortez Hustle so I can see you and hopefully give you a shout out and share you in my stories. So check out today's episode and make sure you subscribe to the feed on your favorite podcasting networks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show. I am, of course, your host, Cortez Hustle, also known as the one and only financial health mentor, everybody's favorite fatherpreneur from MonetizeMyLifeAcademy.com, the premier digital marketing mastermind on the planet. Listen, if you have a business of any kind and you're trying to figure out this internet thing, you're trying to figure out social media, you're trying to figure out YouTube, you're trying to figure out TikTok, Instagram, you're trying to figure out how to create your courses, how to sell your books, listen, you need to test drive Monetize My Life Academy just for $1, ladies and gentlemen. See what we have to offer. Get into our private Facebook group. Talk to some of the members of our mastermind and find out if we can help you move that revenue needle. MonetizeMyLifeAcademy.com. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a wonder-filled show lined up for you guys today. We're talking how to turn your pain into purpose with our special guest, Angela D. Stribling. But before we bring her on, I got a couple of announcements for you guys. Listen. We talked about Monetize My Life Academy. You guys need to join that for $1. Also, for my fellas out there, Financially Lit Fathers has topped 600 members. Super, super proud. Less than a month. And we are doing three things primarily. We're helping men make money more efficiently. Nothing wrong with working a job 8, 10, 12 hours a day. But if you can make that same money in 2 hours a day, doesn't that just make sense, right? We then want to help you manage that money more effectively. How do you manage? How do you save? How do you budget? We're going to be teaching you how to do that. Then we want to help you grow and protect that money more aggressively. If you're like me, starting out late in life on this path to building generational wealth, you can't be pussyfooting around, man. You got to be aggressive with your investing strategy. You got to be aggressive with your business and all of those different things. So ask how you can join Financially Lit Fathers, and I'll drop the link on you so you can request entry into that community. So those are my announcements for the day. Normally we do news every entrepreneur can use, but we're going to skip that today because we got a very special guest. and I want you to hear from this young lady. After tragedy struck in multiple areas of her life, she had every opportunity, every excuse to lay down and give up, but she didn't, right? And I thank God that she didn't, because she's now using that pain to fuel her purpose, and she's helping other people do the exact same thing. So I want to introduce to some and present to others Miss Angela D. Stribling. Top of the morning to you, sis. How are you?
Good morning. I'm so blessed to be alive, and I'm so blessed to be on your show. Thank you so much for having me.
No, it is my pleasure. So, Angela, before we get into who you are and some of the pain that you experienced, how you turned it into purpose, we like to start the show off with what I call the quote of the day. Now, you got two options. You can chime in on my quote, or if you have your own favorite quote, you can give us your quote and I can chime in on your quote. But right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, today's quote of the day is as follows. And this is a great one by Jim Rohn. You cannot change the seasons, but you can change yourself, man. Listen, so many people are trying to change. Winter is coming, and you don't want winter to come. No, just change yourself to prepare for the winter. So you can chime in on that quote, or if you got your own favorite quote that you like to share, then you can share that as well.
That is a great quote that I can definitely see resonating in my spirit, but I have one that has been resonating because of the word God is starting to birth, and it's from Martin Luther King. And his quote is, life's most urgent and persistent question is, what are you doing to help others?
Woo.
And that's been in my spirit for the last 2 weeks. And it's when those things come into your spirit, that is your driving fuel to get you to get out here and start doing what it is that you're called to do. And I use scripture, I use quotes from, people who have gone through the struggle and gone through the challenges to birth what their purpose is. So as far as your quote, you can't change the seasons, but you can change yourself. Michael Jackson said it with the song "The Man in the Mirror," and it has to start with yourself.
It all starts there.
It all starts with you. You can have all these grandiose ideas that you might want to manifest, but if you don't start with changing within you, then that's the path to your direction.
Yeah, it really is. It all starts with you and your perspective, how you see things, right?
Yeah.
It's not what is happening to you. Tony Robbins says it's the meaning that you give what's happening to you that creates all the stress and creates all the trauma. Those sorts of things. Drama rehearsed leads to trauma, and I got that from my man Hassani X. So that is, ladies and gentlemen, the quote of the day right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, brought to you by, of course, Monetize My Life Academy. Listen, you need to jump in that academy if you do not have a game plan to leverage the internet and social media to grow your business. That's what Monetize My Life Academy is all about. And you can test drivers for $1 for your first 30 days. MonetizeMyLifeAcademy.com. So, Angela, I ask everybody who comes on this show, who the heck are you?
Angela Stribling is this humble, grateful young lady from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, whose life started out simple and full of fun. And at certain points in her life, she had some trauma that hit her life, but she didn't let it lay her down. She allowed herself to navigate and go through those storms and learn about herself after coming out of those storms, allowing God to lead her to know who she is, not only as a woman, but a woman in Christ, and also to allow her to be able to be used by him. And as a result of me submitting myself to be used by God, he has birthed all these different avenues of who Angela Stribling is. So first of all, he gets the glory because he brought me out of every situation and every trauma that I've endured. And because of that, I share his story everywhere I go.
Love it, love it, love it. So let's dive in a little bit. I know you're very multifaceted. You've got some community work going on. You've got your book out. You've got all of the things that you are doing, all the things that God is doing in and through you. But let's take it back to some of those traumatic experiences that, without the right perspective, I think that's the key. They could literally take you out of here.
Yes.
But
yes.
So what was the first experience with trauma? And I say that, I don't say first experience to go all the way back to your childhood, unless that's where it started. But trauma happens all the way.
Right.
But when you first recognize trauma for what it is, trauma, right?
I didn't recognize it. Let me first share my book. This is Embracing Calvary from Pain to Purpose. I don't know if you can see it. It's still available on Amazon. This was the awakening of when this trauma allowed me to say, wow, that was deep. When God brought me out, to be able to start thinking like, what was all that for? But this happened in 2011 through 2014. But in actuality, my initial trauma started in 1985 when I lost my mother. I was going into the summer of my last year of high school, and my mother suddenly died. And dealing with that traumatic last senior year where everybody is happy and joyous, looking at life, going to college and, preparing for proms, etc. I had to fight my way through that year to just get through, because here it was as a 17-year-old, all these joyous occasions. I don't have the woman who you've done all this for. She's no longer there. So for me, death has always seemed to be the traumatic force in my life. And so to just take you to 2011, and I went a little bit in detail for it in the book. I lost my dad and my brother within 2 months of each other. My dad was in his 90s, so he had lived a long life. He had just went through the normal navigations of life, and he wound up dying. But my brother's story is the one that he suffered the most, which with me seeing his decline of what he experienced, he went into the hospital for a normal procedure. And while in the hospital, the nurse came in to perform a slow, it should have been a slow drip, but injected him the wrong way with the medication. And as a result of that, when he was going down the surgery, he said to them, "Man, my hand is burning." And he said, "Oh, they'll just take care of it down there." So when he came out of surgery, just for a minor stent to be put in his heart, his hand was impacted. And in a few days, his hand had gotten so infected, it was like he had stuck his hand in a barbecue grill. So, they tried to handle it and debride it, but it had already been infected. And as a result of that, he wound up losing his right hand. And because of that, whole poison invaded his body. Within that next 2 years, he lost both his legs. And then in December 2011, it killed him.
Wow.
So, yeah. So watching this person, he and my dad were, but more so my brother, we were the youngest of 6 of us. So we were the 2 youngest. So we were, pretty close. And just seeing his decline, because he was a healthy, strong man, just to seeing his decline and seeing back and forth between he and my dad's struggles, my whole family, it, slowly but surely weighed in on us. And when he died, it broke my heart, my whole heart, And so God took me through some grief, depression, and post-traumatic stress disorder. And I say that and I share that because I feel it's important that people understand you can go through trauma, but you don't have to stay there. You know what I mean? It got so bad where I've been happy to take my life and remove that pain. But God is a healer. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
once he navigated me through that trauma, I knew without a shadow of a doubt he healed me. And that's why he gets the glory for that. And when my pain took me from Pittsburgh all the way to Charlotte, North Carolina and back again. And when I came back from to Pittsburgh, it was like I knew it was like I was in a Lifetime movie, because the scenarios that entailed that whole journey, I knew it was for a bigger purpose. Because when I finally came home and I felt free and I knew he had released me, I said, "No, Lord, what are we going to do with all that?" Because it was a lot, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in time,
Absolutely.
he began to show me, you know what I mean? I had already given my life to Christ back in 2008, but I didn't realize we all have to pick up that cross and carry it. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter what the circumstance or scenario he's going to use, but he's going to bring you out. And I'm just so grateful that, you know what I mean? Because I could easily, happily have been sitting in Charlotte, North Carolina somewhere twirling my thumbs, but God.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
And you had, so the experience early on with mom at 7, I can't imagine. You know, I lost my dad when I was 11, but I had only spent 2 years of my life with him that I could recall when I was in first grade and third grade. So we didn't have a bond like that. So, and he lived in another state, so kind of out of sight, out of mind type of thing. So I can't imagine getting to one of the most celebrated moments in one's life. And have that happen, right? And talk a little bit about how or who helped you through that, because you think about, you got all those moments that come up during a senior year, right? Everything is big, right? Homecoming is big, prom is big, you know, graduation is big, getting the cap and gown fitted is big, and all of those things. So who helped you through that? Did you have some core friends?
Luckily my dad was, you know, my dad was our glue, you know what I mean? So he was still there. He helped. And, you know, when my mom died, and the beautiful love story that I know share with many people is that my mom died in my dad's arms. So that's how the love they have for one another. But my dad took on the role of still being the father to us, his kids, his grandkids, his great grandkids, until he passed in 2011. So he was still there. But of course, I'm sure he was dealing with losing his spouse. But my sisters were helpful as far as, you know, still making sure I got to the prom, and cousins and that. But then instead of me going to college, which I was supposed to go to, I got pregnant. I had kids. But God knew the plan, because they were supposed to be here. So I wound up having 3 sons within that 3 years. But before my mom passed, she told my dad to make sure I went to college. It was like she knew her time was limited because of the situation that caused her to die, because she had went in for a procedure as well, surgery, and she got blood clots after she came to the hospital, and that went to the heart and killed her. But in those weeks leading towards that, in that summer, because she died in June, she was telling my dad little stuff like, make sure Angie goes to college, because I was a baby. And he's like, okay, Lizzie, well, she'll be there, you'll be here. But lo and behold, she was warning. But with that being in my spirit all my life, even though I had my kids in my spirit, I knew I had to go back and get that for her. And that's what I did. When my kids got a little older, I went back and got my undergrad degree in psychology. And then while I was at it, I went back 2 years and got my graduate degree in professional leadership. And that's when my brother's situation, once I graduated in 2009, doing that, that's when my brother's situation happened. So then there was another, but it's all about, and I've never shared this book with anybody, but a couple people, but there's a book that I read being in COVID. It's Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. And it's one that you need to read. But Satan comes at every juncture when he knows that you're at the pinnacle point of your life to either misdirect you or allow you to force yourself to go through that. So now I know, because I have prayer, you have to pray yourself out of those situations, because the attack is on, because Satan doesn't want you to fulfill your purpose.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right. Let me ask you this, a little bit off topic, but I can't help but go here because of the current circumstances that we're in with COVID. You had 2 instances of people that you love who went into the medical system for routine procedures and it didn't go right. Does that taint your trust of this system? How does that affect you in thinking about COVID, thinking about vaccinations, thinking about all of this stuff that's going on? Is like, I personally, just from our history, have an issue with the establishment, but I don't have the personal history of somebody going in that should have came back out okay, and they didn't.
Well, that was all a part of my journey. I had to forgive the nurse that done that, because it definitely wasn't intentional. You know what I mean? And it could have been easily due to long hours. You know what I mean? And can you imagine, like now with COVID, the long hours that the health system is forcing these people to work because of not getting the vaccine. And it's just a vicious cycle that we have to do our part. Like, I'm not one to, tell a person what to do or not to do, because, you know what I mean, we have free will. And if you choose not to get the vaccine, that's okay. But sometimes you might need to think, what direct impact are you impacting other people by not doing it? Because it's not about, I watched a segment on CNN yesterday where a mom, she hadn't gotten the vaccine and she wound up dying, and the family, her kids, says, and proceeded in death by 4,000 people. But that was probably 4,000 people in their little community. But because she hadn't gotten the vaccine, and it could have been prevented if, she had gotten it, then maybe the outcome would have been different. So, but I don't force, you know what I mean? I say what I feel, just because of me. I just want to be here. You know what I mean? And if me taking it means I will be here for my kids and grandkids, that's the choice that I make. I try to encourage others, but I don't force anything down anybody's throat, because everybody has free will to choose,
Right. Yeah. And that's big, that, forgiving of the nurse. And I don't think we do that enough. Put ourselves in other people's shoes. To say, you don't know what.
I didn't know the circumstance.
It's not intentional negligence, because those people go through hours and hours of training and school and all that kind of stuff. And at the same time, they are still human.
They're human beings just like us. Exactly. Just like it took me, that I normally don't wake up at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for your show. I had to press forward. And that's what they have to do in their roles. And you have to commend them, because they are towing the line that I know in my shoes, I probably don't know how I could handle it. So I'm grateful for those frontline people who are out here doing this job in this horrible situation, because it's still, it's still bad,
Especially now. And we are coming out of it as the individuals who are, mandates are being lifted, and we kind of get out a little bit, but it is still dangerous for them. They are still on the front lines of this thing, and we got to keep that in mind.
And that's the thing. I think most people don't put themselves in the other person's shoes. And sometimes, because, and it's even a situation that I had to go somewhere yesterday. And when I came home, I was just so humbled and grateful by first being a part of the experience, but secondly, grateful because things could be a lot worse in my life, and they're not. You know what I mean? People they don't have the gratitude of understanding that it can be way worse. And that's why I think I'm grateful from my book and my experience. God took me all the way down to a shelter. He took me down into the bottom where I thought the bottom, but pride would make you think like, oh my God, I would never be able to handle being there. It was the best experience I ever had. And you know why?
Right.
Because I was free.
Mm-hmm.
Once he healed my mind and he told me I needed to be at this point with this level of people to share the good news.
Mm-hmm.
You need me to be in the shelter to tell you that you brought me out of my pain and you healed my mind. I'm telling everybody.
Yeah.
And that's when you know that God has a hand on you, because he brought me out of that. And that's why I share this story, because I'm just so grateful. The young lady that's in my book who was with me, who I met in the shelter, her birthday was just the other day, and she's not on Facebook a lot, but her birthday came up and I was able to impact her and talk to her. And this woman, Caucasian woman, long stringy hair, tattoos all over her body, the prideful Angie, before I got sick, would have probably walked right past her, because the prideful Angie would have probably thought she was too good. But when God had to bring me all the way down from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, put me in a shelter in Charlotte, North Carolina, bring her from Tennessee, and allow us to connect and talk about the goodness of God. And when I inboxed her the other day to see how she was doing, she's still talking about God.
Love it, love it, love it. All right, Angela, this is the part of the show that we do something called 1 minute motivation, where I play a short 60 to 90-second motivational video. And I just ask that you jot down a takeaway and share your takeaway. I'm going to give a takeaway. The audience really loves this particular segment of the show. I'm so big on personal growth and self-development.
Yes.
I believe you got to constantly be, as the word says, renewing your mind.
Yes.
With positive stuff, though. People don't realize that everything you consume is personal growth and self-development. Some things that got you growing up, some things got you growing down. So you got to be intentional with what you put in your mind. So we're going to play this short motivational clip, and then we'll get your takeaways on the other side. Let's get into 1 minute motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, the Angela D. Stribling version.
One of your superpowers is a made-up mind. One that is fully persuaded to get it done every single day, no matter the task.
I know it's gonna be hard. I know it's gonna be ups. I know it's gonna be downs. So you gotta rise up. You gotta stay committed, because a shark never stops moving or it dies. I need you to become the CEO of you.
Yes, fear is gonna come. Yes, challenges are gonna come. Yes, you're gonna feel that you can't carry on. But you must continue to rise. You must continue to have faith. You must grow those wings, and you must soar above and beyond the heavens.
See, Angela, one of the reasons I love this segment is because we all just listened to the same clip. But everybody heard something different.
Yes.
So what did you hear?
There's nothing more powerful than a made-up mind.
Man, you better tell them. You better tell them.
Judge Mathis, I've heard him say that over and over and over. And once you make up your mind that you're going to do this, if it kills you, if you go through it in fear, if you go through it after losing everybody, but you're determined, without a doubt, it's a no-brainer, without a doubt. It's
absolutely, absolutely. He said you got to become the CEO of your own life. I think that is so powerful. It's so powerful that so many of us have been trained to play the blame game. Everybody is making everybody else responsible for their happiness, their success, their peace of mind.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
it ain't. No, you the one.
Yes. Yes.
You the
Yes.
one that is
Yes.
fully responsible. And I like the way the Apostle Paul says, we are all gods under the Most High God. But when you think about what that means, if I
Yes.
am a God, that means I am a world creator. That
Yes.
means I create my own world. And
Yes.
if my
Yes.
world is upside down,
Yes.
I did that.
Yes. As you think, so shall you be.
Yes. Yes. So that is 1 minute motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, the Angela D. Stribling version. And if you guys click on the link in the description and in the show notes and grab Angela's book today, I want to bless you with a free vacation voucher. All you got to do is inbox me or email me the.
Did you guys hear that?
Yes. Email me your proof of purchase. So if you go to Amazon.com using the link in the description, you click on it and you make your purchase of Angela's book. You can screenshot your proof of purchase, inbox it to me, or email it to me. All of the instructions are on this page somewhere. And I'm going to send you a free vacation voucher. You can go to one of 15 different destinations. So that's what I do for my guests, because I want you guys to go and support her. So that is 1 minute motivation. Now, let's transition the conversation a little bit, because you and I share this in common. I literally lost my mind. And I think when I look back, I had started to lose it over a period of years, right? I was molested as a child. I didn't tell anybody until I was about 22 years old. At the same time, I was coming out to get that healed. I lost my baby brother.
Yeah.
So I didn't get that situation healed. And then I'm thrust into this other situation.
Yes.
And from that point, even though I had met my wife and we kind of started building a family and all of that kind of stuff, I was slowly unraveling. And then it all culminated around 2000 and I ended up in an institution. So talk about that being in that place, and then the march back, the recovery, because I don't know if you've experienced this, but I experienced this where a lot of people were standoffish until they figured that I was closer to being my old self again, and that kind of thing. So it was kind of a long, lonely march back to a healthy place for me. What was that experience like for you?
Well, the thing is, being that I was primarily away when I went through my grief and depression, once I finally came back home, I was pretty much myself again. You know what I mean? But I did come home for a short stint, because here's the thing. When I left Pittsburgh, the anxiety was I couldn't even be here, because the feelings that my dad and my brother wasn't here, it caused me anxiety. Like I literally could not be in this city because it gave me anxiety, because I was just so blue when I was here, because this was the city that they were from. My dad's house, where my brother lived, I couldn't even go in those areas because I was so blue. And I came back once for a brief visit, and my best friend, she knew that I was going through something, just because I wasn't my normal perky, excited, happy self. Back then I used to go out, you know what I mean? And I wasn't interested in that. But she didn't realize this stuff was about bad. You know what I mean? Like I was just constantly in a dreadful mode every day. And then it got so bad, it was like that anxiety would just come all over me. But the thing is, as a child, when my mother died, I didn't grieve her. So when my dad and my brother died, that came back and I grieved her as well. So I had to go through all of that. So by the time I got back to Pittsburgh and I had just gone through the navigations of that experience, it was just like, I knew it was crazy. I knew God had something big for me, because it was so much. And I think back to it because here's the thing. I was so glue because I couldn't let my brother go. And I literally had to tell him, and that was the hardest part for me, of saying, Gary, you gotta go because I gotta continue on with my life. And a friend of mine who is now in ministry, she told me back then, he's never going to leave you until you let him go because he's going to continue to worry about you. And when I said, bro, you got to go because you're running my life. And once I released him, I was able to then start my healing. So when I moved back, I was just pretty much me getting back on my feet. And you're right. Some people didn't receive me because of just coming back and like, well, why are you back? Because what the scenario was. But in time, once I got back into the groove of working, but I dove right back into church, seek ye the kingdom first and all its righteousness and all things will be added unto. So I dived back in my church and then I started getting into the ministry. And that's when God had called me, and that's when I became a deaconess. So those traumatic experiences was all part of his plan for my life. So from 2014, I was just on fire for him, doing stuff for God, not knowing he was preparing me for what was to come, because the book didn't birth until 2018, but I would come home every day from work and I would be tired. And I would be like, it was like I was carrying a load. So from 2014 to 2016, I started working on the book. I was carrying this load and I couldn't understand why I would be so tired. But this was the book he needed me to birth. I didn't take you through all that for you not to share it. And so once the book birthed in 2018, I went through another situation at the end of 2018. I almost lost my life again. You know what I mean? I had a medical issue that happened to me.
Gotcha.
And so that kind of slowed me down, but I was still trying to push my book and, start speaking and getting back out there. But I was still kind of weak because I couldn't walk for 2 months. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And by the time I went back to coming back out of that, I had like 6 surgeries. It's a mess. The devil's alive.
But you spoke to that even earlier with outwitting the devil. It's like on the precipice of you getting closer and closer to your purpose in your ministry.
That's what he does.
Can we cause some sort of distraction, some sort of diversion, some sort of something that's going to can I put her in a position like Job to where the people around her would say, curse your God? Thank God that you didn't.
You're alive. Because I'm still here, and it's by the grace of God. Brenda Clark said that.
I love it. I love it. And talk about the healing, the continued healing process, because every time I tell my story, my testimony, it adds even more healing. Even though I'm whole, even though I'm solid, it just continues because we don't go through that stuff for us alone.
Not at all.
Right. So talk about how you're using that story in your ministry, in your community outreach, to help others, but also how does it continue to help you grow and add layers of thickness to you so that you can repel those fiery darts of the devil?
Yeah. Well, God knows definitely he's the first ahead of my life for the rest of my life for what he's brought me out of. And whatever he wants me to do, I'll be obedient to do, even when sometimes it's not Angie's plan, because Angie has her own plans in her mind.
That's right.
But he's definitely called me to be able to speak to people in the community about my story. It's also allowed me to create a platform where not only as an author, but to meet other authors to allow them to share their stories on my platform as well. Because, as you was well knowing, being an author, it's a grind, but allowing people to expose their stories, it doesn't mean that it might be for me, but it might be for somebody else. And I'm grateful that God put that on my heart at the beginning of this year to do. Second, and then last but not least, I was elected in my community as one of the Democratic seats for borough council in my community. But with that would allow me to still be able to help those that need the type of heart that I have, because I'm not in this for me. You know what I mean? The stuff that I do as far as talking to people and having the platforms, that's the stuff I like to do. But as far as like having to go and make decisions, I think that is important, because when he sat me down in COVID and I watched all that stuff going on during the elections, when I seen all those people storming the Capitol, when I seen all those people are just not understanding these leadership roles are for the people. It's not for you. And if God knows he can get somebody in those positions that are of him and that is going to do the needs and meet the needs of the people and be a voice for the people, then if God is for it, then who can be against it?
That's right. That's right. All right, guys, we got to take a quick break. But when we come back, we're going to get Angela to drop a freestyle, because I know she got bars. So, yes, we got to freestyle up here on the other side of this break. So, y'all make sure y'all keep it locked right here.
Yo, what's up, good people? It's your man, H Cortez, Cortez Hustle. Listen, when you want to get away from all the hustle and bustle of your life, you want to unplug, you need a place to unwind and chill, I want to tell you all about Patty Creek's Farm. Man, it was amazing getaway for my wife and I. We just came down. It's 2 hours southwest of Missouri, of St. Louis, and we just had a blast. There's plenty for you to do around the farm, or if you want to do nothing at all, I want you to listen to this. Just peace and quiet, right? Man, this is an amazing place. The grounds are beautiful, well kept. Miss Patty and Mr. Bob are some amazing human beings, and they're going to make sure that you have a very good time. So go check them out at Patty Creek's Farm. You will not be disappointed. And for those of you who are grinding all the time, remember, you need time for self-care. And what better way to do that than to unplug? Come get you a little bit of peace and quiet, get you a little bit of peace of mind, relax, chill. One of the coolest bed and breakfasts we've ever been to, Patty Creek's Farm. Check it out.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cortez Hustle Show. I am Cortez Hustle. That is Angela D. Stribling. We're talking about how to go from pain to purpose and transform that trauma into something absolutely terrific. So before we left for break, Angela was about to hit us with a freestyle. I stopped her so we can get our break in, but now we're back. So we do this segment on the Cortez Hustle Show, Angela, called freestyle, but it's not about rapping or rhyming, right? As I am building this media empire that will one day surpass Walt Disney and Ted Turner.
Absolutely.
I don't always ask the right questions. The conversation doesn't always evolve to where you might want it to go. So you either might have something that you need to reiterate, or you might have something that you need to say that we haven't discussed yet. So freestyle is about giving you the opportunity to do just that. So take 90 seconds to 2 minutes and just hit them with your freestyle. What have we not covered that you want them to get, or what needs to be reiterated? So this is Freestyle, the Cortez Hustle Show with Angela D. Stribling.
I think we pretty much touched on everything else, but let me just give you just Angie. Angie is fun. She likes to have fun. She has a grand cat named Keisha. She's a mother of 3 sons, and she now has 5 grandsons and a new granddaughter that was just born. And Angela is just happy to be here and happy to be a part of the ride, and just grateful that God has brought me this far to do the things that he's manifesting. And I'm just excited to see what else is in store. You know what I mean? It's kind of like me doing the work, but also watching the movie at the same time.
I love it. I love it. I love it. You've used this word a few different times, and I want to see if you can kind of encourage our people to get more of it, get into this space more. And that word is gratitude, right? I start my day with a gratitude meditation. About 5 minutes before I get out of bed, I'm just like, man, I'm thankful. I reached
Yeah.
over and touched my wife. She's still breathing. That's enough to be thankful for. Look at my
Yeah.
phone. I didn't get a call in the middle of the night that says something has happened to one of
Yes.
my babies. There's
Yes.
so much to be
Yes.
thankful
Yes.
for, but I don't think people understand how to use the power of gratitude as a weapon in their lives to keep them moving forward. What has that meant for you?
Well, because gratitude means humility.
Mm,
Gratitude means that you know without a shadow of a doubt, had it not been something higher than you
mm,
that is allowing you to still be here,
mhm.
you have to be grateful for that.
Yeah.
I deal with some people who might think it's entitlement to be. You're not entitled
Mm,
to be alive.
yeah.
Every day God wakes you up has to be a blessing. You have to look at it as a blessing. And I'm grateful for that because, like I said, once He cleared my mind and healed my broken heart, every day since, I've been grateful. But
Yeah.
not only with this pandemic, from last year, 2020, to now, 600,000 plus people didn't make it.
Mhm.
And He
Mhm.
allowed you to make it. And
Yeah.
you can't wake up and say thank you to somebody. It don't
Mhm.
have to be my God, but you
Mhm.
can't wait because you did not do it yourself.
Hey, you better tell them. You better tell them. And then
And that's
even,
why I live my life in gratitude.
yeah, and even the people in your life. You know, I shared on a show with my co-host Michelle. Hey, we do a different show on Tuesdays. We were talking about relationships and stuff, and it's like, man, I must say thank you to my wife
Yes.
40 times a day or something, because I don't want that ever to. If she gets me a cup of coffee, thank you, babe.
Yes.
If she rubs my back, thank you, babe. If she helps me in the business, thank you. I don't think we use that in our
Daily
relationship.
life.
We don't use it to our spiritual relationships often enough, thanking God enough.
Yeah.
But we don't often thank each other
No, we
enough
don't.
for
No,
the
we don't.
ease that
Yeah.
my life is so easy because she exists, right? Because
Yes.
she loves me. My wife,
Yes.
I couldn't imagine. So why wouldn't I thank her as much and as often as humanly possible? But you gotta live in gratitude. It is an actual weapon that I use on a
Yeah.
day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember my mentor challenged me, shout out to Henry Dars, he challenged me to start taking cold showers, right? And I'm like, how am I gonna bear this cold shower? And believe it or not, I use gratitude. I got in that cold water, Angela, and I started saying, God, I thank you that I have clean running water
Yes.
to my house. Other
Yes.
people have to walk miles to bathe with animals, even though
Yes.
it's cold as heck.
Yes.
It's running through my house. So I use
Yes.
gratitude as a weapon to
Yes.
literally help me in almost every area of my life.
And
So
you have to, because
yeah,
God likes to know that you at least appreciate some of what He's doing.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
appreciate every little thing. It could be
Mhm.
somebody just made me laugh at a time when I needed to laugh, or
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
hearing a story that, and I hear so much just based on the line of work that I do. I'm on the phone, so I've heard it all through COVID.
Mhm.
And by the grace of God, He spared my family
Yeah,
some of
yeah.
those tragedies. For people to still have a job in this day and age, and you don't have some sense of gratitude, or even if you had to get other means of income, if you don't have no gratitude about how He's kept you,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to say.
Amen.
I don't
Amen.
know
My
what to
girl
say.
Eliani from STL Black Bear says she has gratitude gets me through some hard
Yes,
times.
yes.
Yes, it does indeed. So we know that you have the book out. What else you got going on, Angela?
Well, like I said, now if God, November is the final election for the seat for borough council. So if God brings
Mm-hmm.
that to pass, where I will actually be formally elected, Then I'll start my position in next year, and that'll be a 4-year term, and that'll definitely be helping me to get more information, more programming, more things out to the community for the people that God has me to serve. And that's my mission, to serve the people and make decisions that impact them. I want God to definitely breathe on that Meet the Author series. I think it's a great program, and I'm grateful that I met you, and I'm glad the people that God is lining up for me to connect with, because, you know what I mean, we're all actually on the same team. So we have to be able to share those stories, and I look forward to men hearing your amazing story, because men often feel as though they have to wear around this badge of honor as if they're untouchable and nothing impacts them. And, you know, unfortunately, African American people seem to feel that way too. But everybody is human. Everybody goes through some source of traumatic event that God uses for them to overcome, so they can share the good news. So you either choose to share it, or you don't. But at the end of the day, I'm looking forward to allowing your story to be shared on my platform, because some young man needs to understand everybody can overcome anything. And that's what I just, look at me. You know what I mean? I could have laid there and allowed those situations and circumstances. And some people may have wanted that to happen, but God had a bigger plan. And I'm grateful that He has done that in my life, and humbled by it.
Yeah, there's a big thing about what I call TV masculinity versus real masculinity. We've been trained by TV what a man is, and when we look in our lives, when we look all around us, we see real men, and that's not the picture of what we see on TV. And I want to bring that out more and more, that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to not be the tough guy 24/7,
and not have it all together,
and not have it all. It's that line in that song. When I went through my mental challenges, it says it's okay not to be okay. And that helped me, like, man, it's okay to stop fronting like it's all good, bro. It ain't all good. You hurting. It's okay to say you hurting.
It's the wearing of the mask for me. People put on that suit or that dress. They put that full image on. They put that mask on. But are you really living in your true self? I want, when I step out the door and people see Angela, I want them to see the pieces that God, the Humpty Dumpty that God put back together.
Yes, absolutely. The scars and
the tape
and the duct tape and the stitching. Listen, I'm here because I got a master surgeon who keeps me together every time I fall and break something. He puts it back together. So,
I didn't wake up like this.
Right. I didn't wake up like this. That's right. So the book is on Amazon, Embracing Cavalry from Pain to Purpose. Guys, I put the link in the comments and in the show notes. If you grab a copy and you send me a screenshot of your proof of purchase, your receipt, I've got a free vacation voucher for you. And vacation spots like Vegas, Daytona Beach, Myrtle Beach. We got Branson here in Missouri. That's a fun little town to go and hang out in. Hawaii. There's about 12, 13 different destinations that you can choose from. I want to bless you with that for blessing my guests and showing love to my guests. So all you got to do is, whenever you're seeing this live or on the replay, the instructions are below. Purchase the book, email me a screenshot of the proof of purchase, and then I'll send you the destinations that you can choose from. You choose your destination. I'm going to send you guys that vacation voucher so you can go have a good time. Any last words, Angela?
I'm just blessed to allow you for you allowing me to be on your program. I'm grateful to be able to share my story once again. I hope if I help one person understand God is able, and he's sovereign in control, and he'll get you out of everything. Trust me, I know. And if I help one person to know that, then God's work has been done today.
Love it, love it, love it. Well, hang around if you can. We're going to wrap this thing up, man. I appreciate you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I know it's early and you don't do this for everybody.
I made it though.
I appreciate that, man. So that's it for the Cortez Hustle Show. Remember to show some love to our other sponsors as well, Patty Creek Farms. Until we talk to you guys next time, I want you to get your money up because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve to do it, each and every single one of you. Now hustle up. But you've got to overcome fear if you're going to win.
You're tuned into the Cortez Hustle Show. Please like and subscribe.